After 6 months in Iran with my mother, we came back home to West Lafayette. I was glad to see Jeremy again. We mostly played G.I. Joes, but that summer everyone started getting these other toys that had to do with space. I mostly played with Jeremy because he had the best of these space toys. A Millennium Falcon. This is Han Solo's ship, Jeremy explained. I nodded, but I still didn't understand. Since I had just come from Iran, I had only been speaking Farsi, so I was having trouble understanding English. It can shoot lasers, he said. Then Jeremy pressed the button to demonstrate its laser sound. See, he told me, laser. See? I was in front of my mother about 10 minutes after Jeremy's incredible lecture, mimicking him word for word with an imaginary ship where my hands were. Here's the laser, I said. Na, kheli gerune. Vali, I said and stopped. I never argued with my mother when she said something was too expensive. I just ran back out to where Jeremy was still sitting. He looked up at me right away when I ran up to him. I felt bad, but I told him anyway. She said no, I told him. That's okay, Jeremy said and patted me on the back. You can play with mine whenever you want. That made me cry a little, and I wiped my tears with the back of my sleeve so he couldn't see. Then I played with Jeremy some more until his mom made him go home early. He had to get some kind of operation. I asked my dad about it when he came home. There is extra skin, my dad explained. The doctor cut this off. This is it. He cuts it, I said. Is it going to hurt? They give him medicine, my dad reassured me. I didn't really understand why someone was cutting Jeremy's mangaloo. But my dad continued explaining like the scientist he was. This is a simple procedure, Pirooz, he said. You have it too. Someone cut me, I said. When you were born, yeah, they cut it. I went home after that and was very worried I'd never see Jeremy again. I looked at the poster in my room. It was of a mother and a baby deer in a field of grass and yellow flowers. On the bottom of the poster was a quote in cursive that said, This is a good poster, my dad had told me when he put it up in my room. You like this poster. I stood on my bed and pet the baby deer with my finger. You understand this meaning, Pirooz? My dad said. You'd see this mother deer. It lets the baby go. Then the baby come back. Why did the mother let it go? Because it loves her, my dad said. I was very confused. I would never let the baby deer go if I loved it. If I loved it, then it would love me. I wouldn't need to let it go. It could just stay with me. I explained that to my dad, but my dad didn't like my reasoning. I don't like this reasoning, he told me. If you say something, you have to give a good reason, Pirooz. You have to use facts. Then I laid down for bed. Since my dad was already there, I asked him to tell me a story. Oram gese begu baba junam, I said in Farsi. This was my favorite part of the day. I loved my dad's stories. Some of them were taken from the Shahnameh, an epic written by the Persian national poet Ferdowsi. The ones about Rostam and Sohrab were the best. My father would tell me how Rostam, this great wrestler, would beat everyone. Then he had a son, Sohrab, but he didn't know he did.
Sohrab didn't know his father, and Rostam was unaware of he had a son by Princess Tamina.
Then one day, my dad said, Sohrab wrestled his father. And Rostam killed him. But when Rostam looked at the chain around Sohrab's neck, he sees, oh my God, this is his son. And he cried and cried and cried.
And Rostam just didn't know what to do. It was the most tragedy of his life. And this is the most tragedy in Shahnameh for those.
That was one of my favorite stories. I would ask my dad to tell it every night. But the night of Jeremy's operation, I asked him to tell me about his best friend Jenabi in military high school. My dad would tell me how him and Jenabi and a couple of their other friends brushed each other's teeth in a circle.
Let's brush, instead of brushing our teeth ourselves, let someone else. I brush your teeth, you brush my teeth. It was so funny.
Or my favorite, when they would actually move each other's beds on the front lawn of the school where they met every morning for exercises.
When that guy sounded the trumpet, this guy jumped his bed. He didn't know where he is. He was laughing and laughing. It was so funny.
Usually when my dad told stories about Jenabi or his friends from school, he'd get sad and say, I don't know where those times went. I don't know if Jenabi is alive after this. This became a word for the Islamic Revolution, the regime, Khomeini, and all the catastrophes that happened after 1979 in Iran. Then my dad would wipe his eyes with his sleeve, like I did with Jeremy. I'd hug him after that. I don't know why this Khomeini guy hurt my dad's friend, but every time I'd see his picture on TV in America, I get worried he'd hurt my mom and dad too. I would pray to my poster with the mother and baby deer for Iran. Sometimes I would ask for a Superman cape, or to help my dad's friends, or to help anyone who was sad. Sometimes I would ask for Rostam, the wrestler from Shahnameh, to save Iran from Khomeini and all the mullahs. Sometimes I would look at the poster of the mother and baby deer and wonder if Iran would ever come back to me. That night, after my dad's story about Jenabi, I prayed that Jeremy would be okay. Please, God, I said, I don't need a Millennium Falcon. I just want Jeremy to come back to me. Then I lied down and fell asleep, dreaming of an Iran that would come back to me one day.
Rostam, like his father, was very strong from very early childhood. Rostam became the champion of wrestling in his youth and a legendary hero in Iran. He had one of the most magnificent horses. His horse name was Rash. He was victorious in all his battles, but in his last battle, he faced with the greatest tragedy of his life. Rostam also defended Samangan many times, and Tahmina, princess of Samangan, fell in love with Rostam.